You back? I'm LJ.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, we were hearing about your background and everything. Now, what do you agree and what do you disagree about? Because we actually find this kind of fun. In fact.
I mean, what topic you on? We kind of jumped around a lot.
Yeah, I know you're a first timer for this one. The subject jumps a lot because we were talking about the perceived equality of men and women, or because I like to call it, we're not equals, we're complementary. Because different
you know how I feel about
things.
That word, though, right?
What's that? Baby!
I already told you.
No. They didn't hear you, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that women and men show up differently in different spaces, including in relationships. I agree with that fundamentally. I don't think... Y'all hear my background. So yeah, I mean there's nothing to dispute about that. I think that that's fundamentally true. It's some of the other nuances and things that I'm like, I don't know about that, or kind of the analysis about why and women this or women that. It's like I don't know about all that. I think that a lot of people.
You still there? Damn you, trees! Damn you! So you cut off.
You might want to put up Testosterone, Jeff.
Charles, I have a serious question for the ladies on the panel, and it's something that's been bugging me, and I would really like to know just their opinion. Why do women want to be equal to men anyway?
That's a good question. If LJ's back, let's start with Toya. No, let's start with Kareem, Toya, and if LJ can come back, if she gets her sound back, she can answer as well. Let's start with you, Kareem, Toya, then LJ.
I think I don't want to be equal to a man, but I think the women I hear, they say they want the same rights as men. A lot of the so-called feminists, they want the same rights, and they want to be not judged as like how men could do things and they are not judged. They want women to do the same thing and not be judged as well. That's what I'm hearing from these so-called feminists.
Agree 100%. That's exactly it. It's not about being equal. We don't first tag.
But okay, ladies. Okay, we have to stop you right here. You have the same rights as we do, silly ladies. You have the same rights. So why are y'all still on their jazz? I'm talking about the feminists now, not y'all. I'm talking broadly. Why are they on their jazz? You have the same rights. Why are you crying about that? Either you want to be equal or you don't, because you already have the same rights.
No, so
hell, you have even more rights than we do.
Well, see, that's the type of statements that I think when things go left, because I think that when you try to qualify that women somehow have it better, or black women have it better, or black men have it worse, or who's doing better under this framework of white supremacy, we're all trying to do the best we can in a framework that wasn't built for any of us. So that's where I think things go wrong in the conversation between black men and black women. We're trying to one up. No, we worse. No, you worse. No, we're worse. No, you made us worse. That's not the conversation. That's not the point. And to her answer, it was spot on. The equal and the equality piece, it's kind of like, well, why y'all want to be equal to white people? What? There was a whole system built with racism that made black and white people very different. And so our fight for equality was not for black people to be able to, do something different. It's to have an equal footing with whites. The question is the same. The answer is the same. White women didn't have equality with men.
Hold on, everybody. We got a special guest put up real quick, so pay your taxes. That should give you already.
I hope it's boss. I hope it's boss.
We got to do this. We hold on for everybody. We got the guy who debunks. Boom! Because he's what? I'm Black Superman. Ladies and gentlemen, the master teacher himself, Black man of his own. BGS did more.
BGS, how are you? Hi.
BGS,
One more for BGS, okay? One more. BGS is gonna laugh his ass off when he reads this one.
What's that?
Just to be clear, I am the hell and
Hey, put it back up again, Charles. You took it down.
If you want the rain, you got to deal with the mud. I am the mud.
Just to be clear, I am the hell and
That's Master Educator right there in the nutshell.
I love him. I love Papa Pope.
Jim Morton. That motherfucker always trying to educate us.
What is that?
Oh, man.
Tell him, BGS, the motherfuckers always want to skate up here, huh?
Yeah, that's my grandson. Yeah.
Everybody in the chat has died off this shit, right?
Like call me the sound effects, man.
Hey, bro.
Oh yeah.
Women want rights because they're trained to, and really it's actually a false equivalent because. Huh?
That's the best.
I didn't even get to answer the question.
Yeah. We'll go. Who didn't answer yet?
Toya.
Toya, don't make me put your beautiful head in a headlock. But go ahead, Toya. You know we got you.
I feel like BGS was going where I was headed anyway, which is to say that it's a delusion that we're sold a dream as children because we have angry mothers who think that that's what we should be running after. So it's really based in a delusion that there's even a possibility for us to be equals because that's not how we were designed.
My girl Toya.
That's right, Toya. You tell them. Y'all come from
Hold on for a minute. The host talking. One, Toya, tell your mother I said hello. She's also a fan and a subscriber. Tell her I said hello. And we're gonna go to LJ. Then we're gonna go to the master teacher.
Okay, I just want to say one thing. I think nuance matters, and I think words matter. And so I think there is a difference between equality and wanting to be equal. And I think the first lady, I forgot her name, said it right when she talked about equality in the sense of rights. I think that's very different from wanting to be equal.
You can't skate over that. No, you can't skate over that. If you're gonna define it, define it. Okay, not gloss over it. Okay, what's the difference between the two of them?
So when we're saying we want equality and we want the ability to have equality, that means equal protection, the same opportunities that men have to own property, which women, particularly black women, we just talking about women in general. I'm not going to even qualify it with race because that's a whole nother conversation that I don't think none of y'all really
we talking about gender right now.
I know, that's why I said I'm going to keep race out of it because I ain't going to the black woman thing. That's a whole nother
we've been dealing with that for like 5 years, but let's keep it a gender. Okay, define it.
No, whole nother conversation that people ain't ready for. But okay, I'm just talking from a gender perspective that it's not new. Equality and wanting the same and equal treatment and the ability to have the same opportunities for women is no different from the same struggle that black people want equality from whites. But we don't say, y'all want to be white. No, we don't. Black people didn't.
Not the same. They're not
wait
the same.
a minute. You're not allowing me to finish, sir. Let me just finish, then you can have the whole floor. Okay. All I'm saying is, I just think there's parallels. It is the same. So when black people fought for civil rights, and we wanted equality, and we wanted the equal protection, and we wanted all of the same opportunities, it is the same exact thing that women wanted during that time. And again, I'm not even going to write down the racial part of it, but just women in general wanted owning property, being able to work outside the home because we could not work outside the home. And again, that's white girl stuff, but that's just women. That's what we're talking about. We're not saying we want to haul trash or, you know, do all this physically exerting stuff. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about equal opportunity. Period. We want equal opportunity. We want to be equal at the forefront. We don't.
Let her talk.
That is it. And I think the first woman hit it. So when we talk about equal, that is equality. We're not saying we want to be. We're coming into these as a person at the same level as a man. I mean, I think that physiologically, because anytime there's a conversation, and I'm gonna wrap this up. Anytime there's a conversation when men have a problem or that's when equal, they start using all types of examples from a physiological perspective. Oh, y'all want to lift this, y'all want to haul that, y'all want to work, y'all want to do all this heavy lifting. We're not saying we want to be.
Calm down. Mute yourself,
in conclusion, we're talking about equals in opportunity, equals in the ability to have and obtain things and not be shut out. And that was what the conversation about equals or equality is. It's not to stay there and be the same and we want to stand up and pee and all this other crap that guys talk about.
So in other words, I'm gonna let BGS go. Then I'm gonna go at the BGS.
Okay.
In other words, basically, equality means the same. Equality means just that. Equality means that you don't just pick the good side of equality. You also get the burden of equality too. And that's the problem.
And then what? What's an example of a burden?
In other words,
hold on, you gotta give him. You gotta let him talk.
She can interrupt. She can interrupt. Because I don't mind. I don't mind.
I just want to understand what's a burden.
Okay. Look. In other words, what you just did to me is when I tried to get clarification, you said, "Let me finish." Right? Right? Remember that? Because all I want was clarification. In other words, what you're doing to me is the very reason that I did it to you is the same reason you're doing it to me. I just wanted that clear from now on, because when I interjected for clarification, you said, "Let me finish." Right?
Okay, I didn't hear clarification, but touche. All right, you got it.
I was asking for clarification.
Okay.
Okay. But anyway, I'm gonna clarify that. Okay. Equality means equality for a man, the way a man sees it. Okay. You have every right to get whatever outcome you can earn. Okay. So that means if there's a man that can be CEO, there's got to be a man that hauls the trash, or builds the building, or picks up the fence, or whatever it does. Right. In other words, where a man sees it, it's equality down the line. You get what you can earn. You get whatever outcomes that you can actually develop. So if you're on the police force, that means there's only one standard. Okay, there's one standard. If you meet it, you meet it. If you don't, you don't. That's equality to a man. It's not I have an opportunity. Everybody has an opportunity, but they also have the burden of performance. And that's the problem that men have with so-called equality. What women want is equity. There's a difference. Okay, equity means I get an outcome. And I can be different, but I get an outcome. And those two things
that's true, but that's not by itself.
Those two things are not the same thing. Yes, it is. You got to read your own literature. In fact, the feminists said that. If you read your own literature, in fact, that was the question about women getting drafted into the service in the first place. Black men did not get the vote just because they were black men and just because they were citizens. Black men got the vote because they went into the armed services. Same thing with white men. They actually fought and died for their right to vote, because white men didn't have the vote in the beginning of this country. But when they fought the Revolutionary War and they kicked out the English and they fought and died and bled, then if you want to fight, die, and bleed, then that's why you get the vote. That's the whole reason about this. If you go back and you actually go back and look at history, okay, about the vote, about the modern freedom, because this stuff that we talk about, voting and freedom, all that kind of stuff, it's only 200 years old. It's not that old. Okay, we think it's like thousands of years old. It's not. Okay. The reason that you got the vote, that you have the opportunity to have an individual freedom that you have, is because of what they call amateur weapons, right? In other words, with amateur weapons, then you couldn't have a small skilled army that could actually go in and actually devastate people, right? Okay, you have this big, massive army big massive army that could actually go on and run through a whole continent. Okay, to actually repel that, you had to do what? You had to weaponize the peasants, and they have to go out and fight, die, and bleed for you. But if they're gonna fight, die, and bleed for you, guess what they get? They're gonna have to have a say in the government. That's where the vote comes from. Okay, women did not fight, die, and bleed for their vote. Okay, they were given the vote by proxy. Okay, they didn't earn it the same way men did. And this is white men going all the way back to Europe. Okay, this is not something that's up for debate. Okay, men earn their equality and they earn their say in the society by fighting, dying, and bleeding.
That's not fair.
Same thing with black men and civil rights.
Why is it not fair?
Women could not fight. It's not that we didn't want to fight. We couldn't fight. It does matter because by making it a blanket statement.
That's not equality. That's not equality.
It matters, sir. It matters.
Yes, it does.
What's your name again? What's your name again?
My name is BGS. Very simple.
Okay, BGS. I didn't want to be so formal and call you sir because it comes off a certain way. Okay,
yeah,
BGS.
I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't get called sir enough.
Okay, I didn't know your name. Okay, well, all I'm saying is it matters because the implication otherwise is that women didn't want to fight, or that we wanted to sit on the sidelines, or that we wanted to stay out of the fray, which is not true.
It is true.
That is absolutely not factual.
It is true.
Women, that is absolutely not a truth. That's like saying black men
Honey, y'all are not gonna pick up no arms and go fight no fucking battles. Be true.
Hold on, one at a time. Hold up.
LJ, you're gonna have to calm down, okay? Remember in the mid '70s with the ERA, why did it fail?
Women pick up arms today.
No. Why did LJ, calm down. Why? That's what we said. That's why he said. That's why I said historically correct versus politically correct, right? What is historically correct? Why did the ERA fail in 1976? It's a historical fact. Why did it fail?
Why did what fail again?
Why did the Equal Rights Amendment in 1976, Professor, why did it fail?
You mean recently?
In 1976, ERA, why did it fail?
I'm not well versed in that.
Well, I am. Okay, it failed because Phyllis Schlafly did not want the what do you call it? The selective service, the right to put women up for a draft. Okay, men had to get drafted. There's a whole lot of men didn't want to go to war and get drafted,
but we had to.
But you had to. But that was it's like saying black men what?
We're not even doing race yet because we go about your words. Let me finish this up.
We're not. No.
Okay.
No.
But hold on.
Argue the point, LJ. Argue the point. Argue the point.
Len, calm down. I'm speaking. You got to respect the host, Len. Even BGS. Hold on. I'm just saying to everybody. Everybody's got to respect the host. Okay. Women and men typically go to roles that is very natural towards them. Okay? 88% of law enforcement and military are men. 98% of construction or building of houses and buildings are men.
Tech. 90%.
Tech is 90%. You could get it from anywhere. You could get it from Better Business. You could get it from CDC. You could get it from even the Labor Department.
They actually did a study. They did a study in Norway, right, where they believe in equality, right? They tried it. Okay, they tried it for like 20 years, and they raised the children exactly the same, with the same criteria, the same instruction, the same opportunities, and everything. And when they got to college, right, where they could choose what career they wanted to go into, guess what the men and women chose? Guess what they gravitated to?
I'm not sure.
And they gravitate to their traditional roles. Women choose the more caring roles, the same roles they've always chosen, and the men did the same.
But But that is a function of culture. It's
That's
society.
not culture. In other words,
culture.
In other words, Lynn,
In other words, she's a nurturer over nature. Okay, which
I'm
I read too many books.
I'm gonna ask you, Lynn. I'm gonna ask you. You're an intelligent woman, bar none, right? So
Right.
what? You know what testosterone is, right?
Yes.
What is testosterone?
The male growth hormone.
It's not just a male growth hormone. Do women have testosterone?
Yes. Men,
So that's
just like
not-
men have estrogen. Yes.
So in other words, it's neither male nor female. It's a hormone, correct?
If you want to look at it that way, yeah.
It's just that men produce it 100 times in abundance, right?
I don't know the number, but something
They
like that.
produce it. They produce it in greater
20
numbers.
times,
So
like
another
20 times more,
20
something like that.
to 20 to 30 times more.
Yeah.
So testosterone makes men what?
I am not a doctor, so I don't know
So
all
I'm
the
gonna-
effects of testosterone.
So
Just
if
tell
you
her.
don't know, I'll tell you. And I like Lynn. We do this. This is how we met. But testosterone produces more muscle, burns fat. It makes men more aggressive, more daring. It makes men think with more clarity, logic.
It makes them more sexually aggressive.
It makes them more
I've
sexually
never heard
aggressive.
about the
aggressive.
clarity.
Huh?
I've never heard about the
And
clarity.
Because you don't
In
research it. That's why you
in
never
other
heard
words,
about
in
it.
Hold on.
other words, I'm going to tell you how I know. Because when I went to go get checked, that's why when last time BGS had a shatter point, we spent 45 minutes and I was answering all the guys' health issues. And they were so impressed and so happy with the answers I gave them. The men damn near demanded me to make a health and fitness channel, including with this channel. So when I went in for the test, despite the fact that I carry a good amount of muscle, they said you're below the low standard for healthy men for testosterone. So they have me on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. So I've noticed that, yeah, I'm still strong, but why am I getting more lethargic? Or I'm smart, but why am I not thinking with the sharp clarity? And they were like, oh, so this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So just like with estrogen make women what they are. More caring, more attentive to children and men's needs and women's needs.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, your hormones are going to make you, just like if I give a woman a shot of testosterone, they tested it. She became more sexually aggressive. She became more daring.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't given levels to a man. She was just given a shot. Okay? So in other words, your hormones plus the fact that your environment, the fact that I can maneuver through it easier than a woman.
And then the way the brain is wired, parallel versus cross-wired like women's brains are. There's a whole physiology behind it.
And by the way, I know this is not one of my best videos ever. Myself, and shout out to my chief engineer, Chaos Rain. We actually played, and I went through 10 papers, just like we talked about earlier before the show. I went through 10 papers. The rule of thumb is go through 10 papers. By the time you get to the 5th one, they should say the same shit, or at least relatively the same shit.
Yeah, they should repeat each other, yeah.
So we went through them. Women and men are physiologically and mentally different, because women are going to be more, why do you think we have more of a single mother epidemic than single father? Because women are more susceptible to the environment. You change the environment. Women do not change the environment. They nest in it. That's why men think in legacy, women think in nest. Hold on, you got to get back into the into the bar zone. You got to get back
into
clear
the
the
trees.
And I know you, but this is the reason why. It doesn't mean women are lesser. Yeah, you're perfect now. But this is the reason why when I came up with those things.
See, so you had me, I was following all of this testosterone hormone talk, right? I was following that. I wasn't even going to dispute it because I don't have the facts to challenge you. Because if I have my facts, I don't challenge
LJ, this is the whole problem, LJ. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, let her speak. Let her speak. Let her speak, Mel.
Let me go.
Yeah. No, I was following you, but then you took that scientific, those facts, and then try to apply it in a way that you try to apply it and say, okay, all right, we know all of this about testosterone and estrogen. Now let's apply this knowledge to somehow explain and make a causal effect about single momhood. That's where things go way left. That's what.
No,
LJ, you have to hear the whole explanation. Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand first. Why did he say there was a single mom crisis for females? Why did he say that? Repeat it back to him. Repeat it back. No, repeat it back to him. What did he say?
I'm going to tell you. My point is, it doesn't matter when you start.
Repeat it back to him.
Okay, I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain to you why I interjected. I'm going to explain to you why I interjected.
No. Repeat back what he said so we know that you got what he said.
He said why he didn't make a statement. He had a question.
Yes, he did. No, he did.
I made it clear.
He did make a statement. Repeat what you said, Charles. Now hold on. LJ, repeat what you said, Charles. Repeat what you said, Charles.
Repeat back to what I said. There's a reason why they targeted single mothers over single fathers, because men think in legacy versus women think in nest. Men challenge the environment, meaning the reason why you got civil rights is because you had, number one, the baby boomers, which was the largest influx of men being born ever in this country. And they didn't like the way they were cast in this planet or in this country specifically, so they changed the environment. So when they looked at it and said we can't afford another big change like this, they started targeting single mothers because men make their children, both boys and girls, daring. Meaning, mama, tip, this is not my words. This is what the professors in academia say.
Yeah.
When you have fathers have a thing where they expect the best out of their children, where mothers typically nurture.
Men teach kids to challenge. Women do not. Women teach their kids to accept.
Exactly.
That is such a big generalized statement. Like what?
It is generalized. Why do you think it's generalized after hundreds of generations? Why do you think it's generalized?
I mean, I think this was.
Why
this
do
is
you think it's generalized? No, don't get to another question.
No, I don't. I'm
so
gonna
why do you
answer
think
the
it's
question. The
generalized?
answer is I think you're generalizing it and wrong. That's the answer.
Why do you think? Why do you think?
No. Generalized statements.
Why do you think?
With no credibility behind it.
Why do you? They have thousands of studies. It's not something you can actually look them up.
Name one.
I'm gonna say the root word of generalize, which is general, and we're not talking about military rank. Affecting or concerning all or most people, places, or things widespread. Considering or including the main features or elements of something, disregarding exceptions overall.
But if we start challenging, start naming sources and studies, then means that you have the same burden. That's fair.
So in other words, if we can go back
and that is fair. That's fair.
Okay. So if you want us to pull up 1,000 studies, that means when you say something that we want to challenge, that means you got to pull them up too.
So in other words, tell me. So let me ask you this question.
Yes, yes, you are.
LJ, so LJ, let me ask you this question.
That's the whole
let me ask you this question, LJ. Are men more aggressive than women typically?
I think that research will back that up. Yes, we can find that.
So did you find a research paper already, or can you just walk outside and see it?
I've read studies that talk about
can you
walk
outside and see
the studies? What did the studies say? What do studies say?
About men being generally more aggressive than women because of their testosterone and all that.
Oh, didn't we talk about that earlier?
Okay, but I said that you had me when you were talking about that. I don't
at the same time,
why did they test female Olympic athletes for testosterone?
Because physiologically, men are stronger, and even if you're a transgender male or you have high levels of testosterone, you're gonna outbest women every time. I don't care if you put a pink wig on and run and call yourself a girl. You're gonna physiologically beat them.
What else does testosterone do to anybody's body? It does a whole bunch of things. It makes them what?
It makes them stronger.
Also what? That's not period. There's more stuff that it actually does. What? But
if you're talking about from the Olympics perspective and why in that framework they're interested in making sure that men or women or transgenders or whatever don't have elevated levels, it's because of the physiological difference between the sexes that I think all of us can agree with. What I'm saying that when Charles or you are speaking and then making causal relationships, okay, testosterone makes you this, therefore it explains that. No, that you can't just make these links like that.
There's a very good book called The Alchemy of Love and Lust, written by Teresa Crenshaw in 1995. She goes through all of that, and basically, when a woman, even a woman, okay, say if a woman has low sex drive, guess what a doctor will actually do? He'll give them a low dose of testosterone because it will actually do what to her body? Actually bring up her sex drive. Any woman has ever had, you can actually do it for yourself. If you want to experiment, go to your doctor and say, give me a low dose of testosterone and see what it does to you. Okay, Charles can tell you what it did to him when he had his replacement. What did it do to you, Charles, for the while it was in effect?
Man,
what did it do to your sex drive?
I was horny as hell.
He was a Super Saiyan over 9,000.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna tell you, and here's another thing. Number one, when you look at transgender athletes, right? This is another reason why I'm against transgender athletes competing against women. Because even if you give men or transgender men to like estrogen, guess what estrogen does to men? It solidifies their bone density. So if they're in combat sports, they're going to keep the same bone density as they do before. So basically, they're going to keep all the advantages of what they had as a man anyway with estrogen. So when we look at certain levels of men thinking and being a certain way, is like this. Just to answer your question, even though now they opened up combat units to women, guess what you don't see? You don't see any women joining them. They might want to go to Ranger School, but guess what happened during the studies and that same broadcast I produced? They found out that they fudged the scores. Because in Ranger School, you're known to lose about 30 pounds, maybe 40. And guess what? 145-pound female, 160-pound female cannot afford to lose that type of body weight and muscle carrying a 100-pound sack for 90 days.
And there's also, she can't afford to lose all that fat because the fat feeds her neurological system. And she's it's gonna alter not only her hormones, it's gonna alter her cycle, it's gonna alter the way she thinks, because women need a certain amount of fat for a neurological system.
And then on top of that, that same Marine captain who they interviewed said women should stay the hell out. This is a white woman who's a Marine decorated captain, said women should stay the hell out of combat units. Not a black woman, this is a white woman. She said when she looked at the men do their things, it was like looking at Captain America. It would look like a superhuman to her. And then on top of that, she said that she became sterile. I don't know permanently or temporarily, but she became sterile. So she had to actually gain back her fat and her weight.
I mean, there's a very good reason for that, evolutionary, right? Because we can't feed a woman. You can't feed children if they're in a famine, right? So if you're traveling from place to place looking for food, okay, a woman losing fat will actually signal her body it's not time to get pregnant, not time to have a kid, because there's no food to feed that kid, right? So when you get to a place this is why women have to nest in an environment, right? In other words, she can't reproduce unless there's food to actually take care of the child. So when you find a place that you can settle down and she can get fed and she can get her fat back, that's when all those systems will come back online, because it's they've done run tons of studies about female athletes, high profile female athletes that are training that their cycles are so irregular that they might have a cycle maybe once every 6 months. Okay, they can't get pregnant. So that's how come they say a lot of high profile athletes have to slow down or actually retire temporarily. You see this with track athletes. They can't have a baby until they actually take off for a season.
Look at the chick who did the 200, the black chick. I forget her name. She had to stop trying.
There's an example I can give on that one actually.
And then on top of that, not FloJo, but it was
I forgot her name also too. Yeah,
the skinny cute chick with the light brown eyes. I forget her name. But here's another factoid.
Alison Fox?
Look at women.
No.
Believe it or not, if I really wanted to, I could have had multiple degrees and multiple
Alison
disciplines.
Felix.
Alison Felix, that's her thing.
Yeah.
So this, I could have had multiple degrees. I could get actually, if I really wanted to and buckle down, I could get multiple degrees and multiple disciplines. That's how my school, when I was in, by the time I went to the 8th grade, I was learning shit that they learned in the 12th and in the first year of college. That's how important education was to my parents. So let's look at women when they're menopausal. What happens? Their estrogen levels drop, even with their testosterone.
And their progesterone drops too. What's the first thing that drops?
So guess what?
That's why it's hard to have a kid.
That's why they can't have children anymore. And then two, notice how 40-ish or 40-something-year-old females are more sexually available.
Yeah.
And then they're more, notice they don't get as emotional. They're more reasonable.
Yeah.
Because testosterone does work with your logic and reason, your focus when it comes to thought and clarity. That's why when you have older men, they kind of, I can't think, it's kind of confusing when they get testosterone to click it back.
You get a brain fog as a man when you lose testosterone. Yeah.
But go ahead, Mel, because you didn't speak.
Yeah, not only that, if you realize, look at some of the AG lesbian females and the transgender boys, girls trying to be boys. They doped up on so much testosterone, it changes their physical appearance also too. They look more masculine, trying to get more hairy under their chin. And just like they said, it has a more apt effect, more from my point of view, more of a negative side on their womanly parts also too.
They don't have receptors. They don't have the same receptors for testosterone that men have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also I wanted to bring up, and she left. I hope she come back.
She said she texted me. She said she had to go. One thing I
caught her, she's speaking on how she feels.
Yeah.
That's another thing. You got two men that's telling you fat base and can back it up with evidence. They tell you where they get it